Can you guys hear me? Welcome. I hope everyone can hear me now. We're going to go ahead and get started. Normally, we like to give a couple of minutes for everyone to jump on, but we are going to be moving quick. This is one of our speed sessions. We know not everybody has the time to take an hour out of their day to be able to attend a webinar, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so before we get into the content, I just wanted to cover a couple of quick housekeeping things with everyone. So this call is being recorded. So we'll go quickly, we'll cover a lot of content, but don't feel like you need to take notes or hurriedly take screenshots. We're going to send the recording as well as the slides to this later on, so you'll be able to have all of the information that you need. And then if afterwards maybe you can't find the recording or you want to see other topics that we've talked about, you can head over to our YouTube channel. We put all of these recordings for our webinars on our YouTube channel at Local IQ and WordStream. So you can find everything that you need there. So before we go ahead and jump into the content, I want everyone to find the question box within the GoToWebinar feature. This is where we're going to submit all of your questions for the day. It also sort of acts like our chat feature. We won't be using the chat feature within GoTo. You'll be using the question box. So go ahead, find that question box. You should see maybe my note to everybody saying that we're about to get started. And just to make sure that everyone can hear me and knows where that is, type in where you are calling in from today. I really love to know all the different corners of the country where everyone's calling in, and it's a good way for us to be able to test all of our stuff. So I am calling in from Louisiana today. I live in Northwest Louisiana. So I like to say not the fun part of Louisiana. I'm about 5 hours north of New Orleans, but it's still a lot of fun. I've grown up here and it's rainy today, so it's not as hot as it usually is. So go ahead, let me see where you're calling in from, and let's see how neat it is for everyone to come together on one call, one discussion, and we're all here for the same reason. So I see a ton of people typing in. I see folks from Florida, Mississippi, I see Georgia, a lot of Southerners. So welcome to the webinar. Where else? We've got Pennsylvania, I've got Boston, Miami. Wonderful. I see a ton of different responses. New Jersey, California, Tennessee, Kentucky. Fantastic. This is awesome. I hope everybody's having better weather than we are here. I see it's sunny some places, so I hope you guys get done with calls early today. You can go sit in the sun. All right, so thank you so much for typing that in. I love seeing where everyone's calling in from today. And let's go ahead and head to the next portion. All right, so before we go any further, I want to get everybody on the same page of exactly who Local IQ is, because some of you might already be working with us, and so you're familiar with Local IQ, and that's awesome. But some of you might be totally new, and maybe you came across a piece of content on WordStream by Local IQ, or maybe you currently work with us through your local newspaper publication. Well, I wanted to let everybody know that we are all under the same umbrella. And so we are with Local IQ. And what we do is we help to bring businesses like yours to help attract and retain the ideal customer. And so we do that in 3 ways. We help you get the inside track. We have an all-in-one digital marketing platform that uses vertical specific data that helps you get the intel that you need. And then we get what's right for you. We used a really personalized approach from our local marketing experts who are in the field and who know the industry. And then we get you a step ahead. We have a lead management system with the help of AI that helps you follow up faster and be able to convert leads faster. And as part of all of that, we host these webinars as an educational piece. All right, so a little bit about me. I will be with you for the next few minutes. I'll be your webinar host and facilitator. My name is Katie, and here at Local IQ, I work closely with all of our teams on digital marketing. And so for the last 10 plus years, I've worked in one capacity or another, equipping sales teams, working with agencies and individual business owners with whatever they need to succeed. And then again, as I said, if you couldn't tell from the accent, I am from the Southern US. I'm in Louisiana. And so I'm excited to be here today. And let's go ahead and kick off. So find that question box again. If you've attended any of our webinars, you know that I really love to keep everyone on their toes and engaged. And so what I want to do is kick off with a pop quiz today to warm everybody up to the topic. So we're all here to talk about AI. What is the biggest marketing challenge that you are hoping AI can help you solve? I think before you go to AI with a prompt, you've typically got to have a problem before you can go to them. And so type into that question box and let me know what it is that you're trying to solve for. Is it automation? Are you having problems with things like scheduling and just making time in the day for everything? And so you're trying to figure out how AI can help you automate. Or maybe it's content creation. You have a blog or you're trying to boost your social post and you're trying to figure out what it is to type in there. There's a ton of different issues. I see content creation from Carrie, saving time from Tiffany. I feel like if we could all like that question in the box, it would be everyone's favorite because I think we're all trying to save time. Wanting to market anything, I understand. And so we are going to give you some really good tips today. Better content faster, improving performance. That's another thing that we'll talk about, how to use it for data and reporting, blog creation, LinkedIn. Okay, so I see a lot of different answers, a lot of different reasons for those answers and being here. So that's really good because I think that we're all ready and we're all in the right place to learn the tips and the tricks and the things to get the most out of AI so that we can really get back to what we want to do, which is run our businesses, do our jobs. And I saw somebody in the chat put that they were by the pool because I think that's really what we all want to be able to do. So let's go ahead and kick off our topic for the day. We're going to talk about the best prompts for better marketing. A lot of times it's what you put in that determines what you get out. Then we're going to talk through 3 quick tips to write the best AI prompts. And then we're going to go into a Q&A. Like I said, this is our quick 30-minute session. So hopefully we're going to give you a ton of good details in a short amount of time. So the secret isn't just having AI. A lot of people said that they're using AI in the chat, but it's really about knowing how to talk to it. Again, the output of AI is only as good as the input. So in general, we talked about a lot of things that AI can help us with, but AI helps marketers create copy and content. It can help us engage with our followers, post more frequently. It can grow your new channels in a more strategic way. So if you're only doing search, it can help you grow to do things like display or social, and a ton more different options. And so the main takeaway here is that if your competitors are doing all of this, which we know that they are, and they're doing it more efficiently, then you want to be doing it too. So let's talk about how to do it better. Let's jump in. We're going to look at several common marketing scenarios, and then within those scenarios, the AI prompts that can make life and really your campaigns a lot better. All right, our first scenario is the need to repurpose or scale what you're doing without burning yourself out or your team. And I saw a ton of responses. So everyone feels this pain point or this scenario, however you want to talk about it. We're often running multiple campaigns in multiple places, and there's just not enough time to resize, rewrite, and then rework each ad for a different platform. So, but you need to be everywhere because your audience is everywhere. So how can AI help with that? Well, you can use prompts to help generate ideas or messaging that's appealing to each platform's audience. Each different social platform or search platform has a different audience. They're in a different frame of mind. They need something different from the ads that they're seeing or the content that they're seeing. And that's where AI is coming in. So you can ask AI to adapt a specific ad for several platforms, or you can have it take, maybe you have an existing piece of content or a blog. They can take that and then turn it into multiple ads for you. So another way that we see this play out is often behind the scenes when AI technology is applied to the mechanics of a campaign. So here you see examples of what that output is, the different ads, and you can ask AI to create these different ad types. Well, a lot of times, for example, on the back end is where AI can play an even bigger role. So for example, like if you're a customer with local IQ, we use something that's called cross-media optimization technology. And it's a bit of a mouthful, but what that really is just buzzwords for taking a single campaign budget, spreading it across multiple channels, so search, social, display, email, YouTube, and then automatically moving that spend to what's performing best. So it's built for that seamless scaling without the manual headache. So you're accomplishing this same goal here in this scenario using AI, but you're not going to have to prompt it. So I think that the main takeaway here is that instead of having to just start from scratch, give a prompt with a couple of ideas, adapt this ad. Maybe you have one ad that you've been using, adapt this ad for Facebook, YouTube, and email, and AI will give you some really good options. All right, next up is A/B testing and reporting. This is another really common scenario in marketing. It's kind of a cornerstone of what we do if you are in a marketing role. And if it's not part of your strategy, I would really, really encourage you to start testing your content and your ads. So you can play around with subject lines, messaging, tone, the creative, you name it. Then you run 2 versions at the same time, and then you see what's performing best. So really, you're just running things side by side to see which is resonating the best with your audience. But data is crucial for understanding what's working when you're A/B testing. So obviously, the biggest piece of that is getting the actual numbers of what that performance looks like. And honestly, this is where I see a ton of people struggle. They can find the metric of the performance, but they don't really know what it means. Or maybe they don't even know which metric to pay attention to, like which one matters the most. And having a really robust reporting platform is what's going to be the most helpful with that. You can see some examples here of AI helping give lead nurture email test ideas, but the interpretation of that data is what can be the most helpful. If you're like me and numbers just kind of feel like these things on a screen, then that's where that interpretation can really come in handy. Again, on the back end, if maybe you're not directly inputting something into AI, but maybe you're using an interface that incorporates AI. Like Local IQ has something called Dash. That's our reporting platform. And so that's where you can see all of your reporting and the metrics, but then you can also see the data aggregated in a way that lets you easily interpret it. So you can utilize prompts like what's on the screen to help you get to a certain point. And it can help you understand, what the numbers mean, and then spend some time in a really robust reporting platform reviewing those insights, and then that'll help you figure out what actions to take next. And I see a question coming through about what timeline is best for A/B testing. That's a really great question. I think you may not like the answer. It kind of depends on what you're doing. If you're going to send an email and you have a special offer, maybe you're sending a email, you A/B test, you send 2 different versions, and then you wait a few days. You see what the performance is like, see who's doing something. I'd say anywhere from 3 to 4 days. And then you follow up maybe with another email based off of that reporting. If you're running some sort of ad, maybe it needs a little more time to play out. Ads need time to optimize to be able to adjust bidding and get in front of the right people. So maybe you let it cook for just a little bit longer and then go back. A trial and error is a big part of marketing. So I think you just figure out what works best for your audience and your industry, and then you just learn as you go. So great questions. Keep them coming in. So speaking of multiple versions of ads and ads in multiple locations, the reason that we do all of that is likely because you're trying to target the right audience. So you're wanting to meet your ideal customer exactly where they are in exactly the way that they want to engage with you. And so you want to speak their language throughout the customer journey. So we all know that if you're casting too wide of a net, so if you're doing too big of a targeting circle, then you're not really going to reach anyone with your message. AI is where it can help you understand the audience by helping you craft personas, but you can still have to figure out how to show up in front of those personas. So hyper-targeted audience advertising is what's going to be the key for you here. So once you're able to build that persona, you're able to understand who your customer is, maybe where they're spending time, then you want to start looking at different advertising channels and tactics that help you get in front of that audience. And what's really helpful is if you can find a solution that does both. Like here at Local IQ, we have a product called Brand Amp, and it builds a really specific audience based off of demographics or buying activity, interest, or other factors like that. And then it helps you create that audience. And then there are solutions on the back end that then connect that audience to your ads across things like search and social and display. So it's important to really build a detailed buyer persona at the beginning when you're trying to do that. A lot of times I find it difficult because I just want to dive right in and start the work immediately. And to me, the work is the ad itself. But sometimes you have to step back, and that's where AI can help speed up that process. So it can, maybe you find out who your ideal audience is based off your industry, and then you ask AI with a prompt like, rewrite this ad for a Gen Z small business owner. Or maybe you say, give me keyword optimization for this specific headline. And so you can see as you're starting to get more information and more details from AI, you can continue to push it with additional prompts and questions. And really, there's no limit to what you can ask it. There's no wrong way. It's not going to correct you. You just sort of self-correct and learn how it best responds and the best answers that it gives you. All right, next up is email and chat conversations. So we live in a world of email and chat as the primary modes of communication, plus especially with chat. They are great ways to ensure that you're following up on leads quickly. And so when I talk about chat, I mean the little widgets or chat bots that pop up in the corner of a website whenever you visit it. This is where you can incorporate things like that live chat bot, or solutions like we have something called Dash SMS text or voice agent. And so that's where you'll really want to be able to help with the response, because AI can help with the responding, but you have to prompt it. You have to give it something to start with, and that's where this can come in really handy. And so you see here that chat users are almost 3 times more likely to convert. So use AI to give you the ideas on how to improve that chat engagement, or you can ask it to give you common chat questions and answers for your specific business. And if you use a CRM or other email management system, like what Local IQ offers with Dash, then you can automate your emails and use AI to give you subject line ideas and even email body copy. So it takes a ton of that lift off of you. It really frees up your mental capacity. So I want to stop right there. That was a lot of information for just a second. I want to ask, which of these scenarios so far, or which of these prompts do you think is going to be the most helpful? Where are you guys leaning? Where is it really speaking to you and your problem areas? Which one do you think maybe you'll try out today? Which one of the prompts or the scenarios? I see a lot of questions about A/B testing, so I feel like you guys are going to really dive into that and start trying to use AI to help you put together some really good tests. I see some other things about content creation, email copy. That's perfect. So everyone's starting to think about where this applies, and that's really good, because that's what's going to be the most helpful, is when you can immediately pull up a chat agent and start putting in some of these prompts and start thinking about how it makes sense for your business. All right, so we talked about some prompts, and I see everybody's still giving me some awesome answers around creating customer profiles, learning about your audience, versioning out website content. That's fantastic. I love seeing that this is resonating and is helpful for you guys. So now that we have a good foundation of what to put into an AI agent and be able to get a good output, let's shift gears a little and let's talk about tips to write the best prompts. So we know the scenarios, we know how we want to use it, but this is an art, not a science. So here are some things that can help get you going. First, the most important thing is to know your options. I saw a question a second ago and I held it around what's the best chat or AI agent to use to be able to help with these kinds of things. And so the answer is there's a million and it depends, but let's put some parameters around that. That may be a little more helpful. So there is an AI tool for everything now. You can even go ask ChatGPT to give you a list based on what you want to accomplish, and it'll aggregate that for you. So here's just an idea of the types of AI marketing tools that are out there. And again, remember, these may not be independent tools. These may be baked into different things. Like if you work with a third party like Local IQ, we have AI that's built into all of these mechanics. So it really just depends. But remember that each tool out there is going to give you a slightly different response for the same prompt. And that goes back to how they're built and the data that they have access to. All of that differs based on the tool and the reason it was built. So it's best to first evaluate your tool options like ChatGPT or Jasper. There's a ton more before you decide which one you want to use for a specific task. And really, it's trial and error. Maybe you use Jasper and it's not giving you the kind of answer that you want, so you switch to ChatGPT. So, likely what will happen as you're going through that is you'll notice that you need a mix of tools. There's no one size fits all, that you need several to be able to meet that business need. And you're not alone. As you can see from the stat up on the screen, statistics show that most businesses tend to use multiple different AI tools. So your current marketing goals are also going to impact which AI tools and then which prompts you go with. So knowing your goals and keeping that strategy in mind is probably the next best thing that you're going to want to think through. So it can be helpful. This is my least favorite thing to do, is to take a step back and then consider where it makes the most sense to you with AI in your marketing. Like I said, I love to just jump right in and start going and doing. I'm very results oriented. So it's really hard for me to pause and sort of take an evaluation of what I want to accomplish. But this is a really good time for you to be able to do that, because that's going to impact what you try to get out of AI. So for example, if you are looking to maybe create brand awareness, that's what I mean when I'm talking about what your marketing strategy is. Maybe you just want more people to know about you. Then you are going to then maybe want to focus more on perfecting social media. So you're going to want really solid social media prompts. So you can see the example here where you can quickly scale your presence using AI through social. So maybe you have a lot of engagement on your page, but you don't have the time to respond with it. So you ask ChatGPT, respond to the following comment in 3 sentences or less, be friendly and helpful. And then you'll get a ton of different options that you can then edit to fit what makes sense for you and your business. All right, so we said it earlier, but it bears repeating. An AI output is only as good as the information you put in. So a can't miss AI writing prompt tip is to be as specific as possible. So the more specific you are, the more likely you are to get a response. And if you think back to some of the example prompts, you've noticed we talked about all of these things that are checked here. We want to tell it the length of the response, the target audience, the tone. So if we look at the desired link, AI tools tend to ramble. They give you sometimes way more than what you need. So you can spare yourself from all of that and having to sift through it, since that's the whole point of AI to begin with, and just say, I need this in 1 sentence or 1 paragraph. And it's not here on the screen, but it bears mentioning, never just copy and paste something straight from AI and think it's good to go. AI is still a computer. And so it still needs that human touch. It still needs you to go in and edit and refine for what makes sense. Again, for your personal tone, for your business's tone, to make it sound like an actual person. So then your business's industry is also a really important specific detail to put into a prompt. It helps add context to the prompt, and then it clarifies what the business does. So as it's giving you the information back, it's less time for you to go through and personalize it. Things like the target audience, again, or the goal and the purpose of your prompt. So if you want to mention what you're looking to achieve so that the tool could then include a call to action as part of the response, again, that's one less thing that you have to do. And then another good thing to include is your brand style. So you can either provide a link to your brand kit, or maybe you don't have something that formal. You could just put in a few guidelines within your prompt so that AI knows where to work and what sort of output to deliver. So this is really crucial because it lends itself to a better voice and a better style, and then again, less editing on your part. And then it can analyze links and files, for example. So you can upload something and it can use that as a starting point, as its own inspiration, and then you can edit it once it gives you an output. All right, so that was crazy fast. We've got a few minutes left. So I want to just go over a couple of quick things if you leave with nothing else. One, be specific. The more detail you put in your prompt, the better. And then use the right tools. We covered several AI tools here. There's a tool for every function, and you may need to use more than one. And then try and try again. Don't give up. If you give AI a prompt and it doesn't give you something good back, keep pushing it. It won't walk away and it won't give up, I promise you. So don't give up on it. All right, so I'm going to start going through some of these questions. I see the question box is blowing up. And so while I do that, we're going to put another question up on the screen. This is a poll. And so if we are not able to get to your specific question for the day, or maybe you have something really detailed that you want to get into, or maybe you're like, you know what, I don't want to deal with any of this. We have someone who can talk to you and do an analysis of your business and help guide you on the next steps and the strategy. And so just click yes to that poll right there. And whether you click yes or no, you're still going to be included on the webinar. This just sort of puts us into what I call like our audio portion. So sit back, relax, and if at any time you want to do a deeper dive, just go ahead and click yes to that poll. All right, so let's go ahead and hit some of these questions. So I see a ton of people coming in here. I see comments like AI just fakes it until you push it. I agree. I 100% agree. Again, it's only as good as what you're putting into it. So I would just, the more detail, the more prompts, the more specific, or maybe you just switch to a different tool. If you find yourself in that position and you're getting frustrated, maybe it's that tool that can't really help you. And so you just need to move on. So I see a question around marketing stack and asking for a question for suggestions. And so I think that that's referring to what the different channels, whether you should do search, display, social, and what sort of ad types. That is a whole webinar in itself. And I think we actually have one about that scheduled coming up soon. I would say, one, that is a great thing to ask AI is what sort of marketing channels make sense for my industry. But then once you get that list, there's still a lot of decisions to make, like what you're trying to accomplish. If you want lead generation, brand awareness, maybe you're able to get leads in, but you have trouble being able to, get the sale over the fence and convert them. And so all of those things are determined when you're figuring out what marketing stack to do. A lot of people just say, oh, do social. There's a lot of decisions to make whenever you're talking about what to do in social. Even if you land on a specific platform like Facebook, there's still a ton of decisions to make. And so at that point, that's when I would continue to do your research, or you can reach out to a third party. Like that's what our experts are here for, to talk about your industry specifically, your goals, and sort of help put together a plan of what makes sense for your business. But really, they are all great. There's no bad move on which platform or which channel to use. It's just how you do it and when you do it and what makes the most sense for your business. Okay. All right, so I think I can take maybe one more and then we'll have to go ahead and close it down. But I see an ask about different tools. So you can go ahead and you can search for various AI tools. Like I said, there's ChatGPT, there's Jasper, there's a ton of other options out there, and it all varies based on what you want to accomplish throughout that goal. So I would just encourage you to start asking the questions, start trying the prompts, start looking at third-party tools because AI is probably folded into those as well. And then if you are ready to talk to someone about your own marketing strategy, that poll is still up on the screen. We'll be sending out this recording and slides later on, so you'll have it. And we can't wait to see you at the next one. Thank you so much for coming today.